Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Spumelele Zondi with your technology and social media news. To be a part of this technology discussion, find us on SABC Network. Now that's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. You can also use the hashtag SABC Network. Here's what's coming up in the program. Google is celebrating 10 years in Africa. They've become more than just an online search tool. We will also chat to the creator of an online animation who created the popular series Rams Comics. Rahema Issa from TEDx Littleton Women is in studio to talk about how tech amplifies some of their discussion. Hello, Rahema.
Hi, Spumelele.
Hi. How did the event go?
It was excellent. It's always amazing for amazing women to share their content.
All right, we'll have a deeper discussion later in the program. But first, here is your social media and technology news. Now, Google has celebrated 10 years of physical presence in Africa. Their first office was in Kenya in 2007. They then opened another office in South Africa in the same year. They now also have physical presence in Nigeria as well. If you're searching for information online, using maps or watching music videos, chances are that you are using a Google product. Google is more than just a search engine tool now.
Initially, we were just known as a search company, and not just a search company, but a search company for people that were doing research, so students, for example. But since then, we've seen people connect YouTube to Google, for example. We've seen people become more aware of the fact that Android is a Google platform. We've seen the growth of Android in the market. Obviously, we've seen more people take advantage of digital technology in terms of phones and in terms of all the physical products. So I think over time, people have adopted technology in general, and part of that adoption is also having a better understanding of the tools and platforms that companies like Google offer.
They've also decided to map out Africa. This includes parts that were previously undiscovered. Google Street View has done that with the help of Discover Africa in South Africa.
As a traveler or someone planning a holiday, you can kind of get a sense of what it's like. You can see, is that hotel I'm booking close to the beach? And if I'm going to do the Grand Canyon, like, how long is it or what's it like down there? So yeah, those are some of the uses, I think. Oh, without a doubt, I'd love to take that camera and showcase way more of Africa.
Now, Google is embarking on a massive project to give digital skills to young Africans for free.
Helping small and medium business owners, job seekers, and developers themselves gain the skills they need to earn more income, start businesses, and for businesses to hire people. So that work continues across the region. For example, there's Digital Skills for Africa program that we actually launched last year with a bid to train 1 million people across the region. We announced in March of this year that we had reached that 1 million. And then in July of this year, when our CEO, Sundar Pichai, visited Africa for the first time, he announced that we'll be training 10 million people across Africa over the next 5 years.
They celebrated their 10 years of physical presence in Johannesburg. Rams Comics is a popular YouTube page that tells the tales of Nuku Mashaba. Let's take a look.
I hope umfonela gompotsa ke win track a go tala di moyana.
My man, are you sleeping?
No, I'm busy getting a visa for my tukulush. Of course, ke robetše utso mana leng puso.
I just had a dream about you, my man.
Whoa. E re go stop gana mo. Maybe you dile mistake or fonela butiso mizi. Na ke go ready on goal chomzana.
Don't be a voluntary idiot. There's a storm coming and it's heading your way.
Eh wena mfonela ka 3 AM utompotsa di weather updates.
No, I don't mean that kind of
thing. Buzz off. They are all connected to Nuku Mashaba, the boy with verbal diarrhea. They are considered verbally armed and dangerous, especially this Muloiza. Oh, Mona, you shoot first and ask questions later. Langwabanna.
Yes, sir.
These guys have been cucumizing people over some Greenwich at Mutimulle.
Shoot to kill. Not this for buy bullets, Javanava school.
Yeah, all we do is satisfy stupid affidavits all day. It's about time we started shooting something.
Yeah, of course. Now, Sonejere package. Because these people are from the Bundus, so they stand a better chance of winning Yebo millionaires. Regavita Gwara Humana house to let.
Yebo milane se felile chief.
Oh, this is gonna be easier than trafficking a person in South Africa. Remember, whatever you do not listen to the things they say. Lengwamanna.
Yes, sir.
That is quite hilarious. Now, YouTube is also another platform owned by Google. Joining me in studio is the creator of that series and founder of Rams Comics, Jonas Lekanyane. Hello, and thank you for being a part of our network.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now, Jonas, what made you decide to take that series online?
I'm just going to go ahead and say it was the easy way out, you know. I could have went to TV, but at the time, you know, we didn't have enough money for ourselves to take our own content to TV. So what we had to do is, you know, online it's free. You can put out your content. It can people can watch it all the time, and they can watch it at the time even when they need to. Yeah. So for me, online was it. I was just testing waters.
Did you realize it was going to be as popular as it is? I mean, they reach over 500,000 views on YouTube.
No, they actually reach over 1 million views on YouTube. So, but I've never thought I would get such popularity on online. I always thought the way that it was gonna go was I will get a couple of videos that are gonna be good, and then they will take me to TV. But all the time, I'm looking at online, and it has been working better than. I think it would have been working better than TV. Yeah.
Now, let's talk about the technologies that you use, because you are a self-taught graphic artist. How did it start, and the technologies that you use? Was it easy even?
Google. That's
really?
everything. That's my entire life there.
So you went online to search for
I went
for
online,
tutorials.
Yes, I searched for tutorials on YouTube, and I watched the tutorials. And Google has like online forums. You know, that's where you get other people who are doing the same thing as you. You get professionals. You get like advice. You get all these type of things. So Google was the way. All I needed was data.
Now let's talk about the monetization of things on YouTube, because you making money from your page on YouTube and by the views and the advertising that goes on your page. How does that work?
Google has this program called AdSense. It's another product of Google AdSense. So what it does is basically you can make money off of your content, whether it's audio, whether it's written, whether it's video. So what you do is you basically link your YouTube channel to your AdSense account. So the AdSense is basically like a monetary system where people can get paid from their content. So yeah, Google, all you have to do is just partner with YouTube and AdSense, and then you get paid.
All right, but is that everybody that can get paid?
Everybody.
Must you have a certain number of views? Must you have a certain number of subscribers on your page?
Obviously, you have to. There's a threshold, but it's very, very low. I think anybody can reach it. So anyone can get paid on YouTube. It's not something that is for like big corporations or everyone.
Now the spin-offs of that, because obviously there have been spin-offs because of the popularity of your YouTube page and your comic series. Can you tell us about those spin-offs?
You mean like challenges?
Well, the work that has come because of the popularity of it.
Okay, all right. Because you are right. I've been doing a lot of work because of the series. Now, what you realize is that your content on YouTube is like a portfolio. It's not content for a brand or anything, but then it's content that's meant for the people. But you know, a lot of people, other people see the work, and then what they do is they come to you. Even though you get sidetracked, you don't deliver for your fans anymore. But you know, it's work. You gotta eat.
All right, quick one. Would you ever take it to a broadcaster now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the talks. I'm in the middle of that right now. So, yeah.
All right. So thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so
Jonas Lekanyane there is the founder of Rams Comics and the creator of Nuku. Let's take a short break. We'll be back right after this.
violence against women, it also talks to such behavior where teachers, instead of educating kids and give them dignity, they strip them of their dignity.
The First Lady.
The First Lady, her action, it's just unacceptable. I must say that it cannot be condoned. If I had it my way, I would say we had to act and make sure that he goes to jail.
This scourge is not ceasing.
The angry people, the intolerant, it's so huge. So then the scourge finds itself within that particular environment. You cannot say that it's a standalone. It's influenced by social ills, economic challenges.
Join me in Port Sedu live every Monday to Thursday at 17:30.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za and email. Welcome back to the program. Now, when some of us are called to give TED Talks, it's often very scary. TEDx is a series of events that take place all over the world. A lot of speakers are often found to be thought leaders in the areas they speak about. Think Nigerian author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, whose TED Talk about feminism was used by Beyonce in a song. Recently, at TEDx Littleton Women, someone spoke about artificial intelligence and women's rights in Africa. Now, these talks happen all over the world, and because of digital spaces, we get to listen in on a lot of them, even if we're never there. Now, joining me in studio to talk about how digital platforms assist in carrying on the conversation, even if one wasn't there, is the organizer of TEDx Littleton Women, Rehema Issa. Hello, and thank you for being a part of our network, Rehema.
Thank you for having me here.
All right, so now let's talk about that particular talk, artificial intelligence and women's rights in Africa. What was that about?
That was an interesting conversation, right? What she brought to the table was the fact that we are going into the fourth revolution, and technology is playing a significant part in terms of where that is going. However, the narrative around that has to understand that where artificial intelligence is coming in is typically influencing and impacting spaces where manual labor is prevalent, spaces where unskilled labor is very prevalent. Now, if you think about the African continent, where are women located in that? Women are located in those specific vulnerable spaces. So when we think about women's rights and participation in the economy, we've got to start thinking, well, in as much as it is creating a space where women can participate more, it is also creating an environment where those who are vulnerable may find themselves even more vulnerable. However, it didn't just talk about the negative impacts of artificial intelligence. It also started to pose questions about what the opportunities were. And I think you've got to start looking at it from a lens of how perhaps a woman would be impacted. An example is border control. The idea of bringing in artificial intelligence and not having to deal with the why are you here is part of the conversation she brought forward, and dealing with robots and how that would perhaps make movement easier. But if you think about women and the fact that a lot of informal trade happens and a lot of women move between borders, what vulnerabilities that they get exposed to. And if there were robots, perhaps less incidences of rape, manipulation, and extortion could actually happen. And that was the kind of conversation that was brought to the table. What would it mean about women's participation? What would it mean about women's rights? But how, as we move towards this fourth revolution, do we make sure that we preserve the rights of women and we don't leave vulnerable groups more vulnerable because we're embracing technology?
Did she talk about the fact that robots are programmed by humans, and humans obviously have their own beliefs, and etc., etc.? Did she touch on that?
She didn't necessarily go into how they were created, but it's really about the enablement space, what robots or technology in its nature does for society. It enables it enables and facilitates engagement by humans. So not necessarily who's developing it, and there are quite a number of women in that space. And so that was the perspective of how we participate in an economy, but also the question that was being brought to the table: what does this mean? And that's an important question. Not only what are we seeing coming through, but we always have to ask the question: what does it mean? Who does it mean it for? And how do we ensure that not only do we preserve, but we participate constructively?
Now, these talks will be going up on digital platforms, and previously your talks have gone up on digital platforms. What role do those digital platforms play in carrying on the conversation?
It's a significant role. So I think, to give you an example, a few years ago, I'd wanted to start up a speakers bureau. And part of the question that I was going to people saying, can you listen to this woman? The first question would say, people would ask me about these women who are typically known in those spaces is, who are they? Do they have a social media following? Are they famous? So for women to participate in spaces, those are the questions that were being posed. So the digital platform, what it's allowed us to do is to create a space where women can show their talent and essentially they'll showcase who they are and what they're doing without having to have the social media aspect validate their relevance and validate the content that they're bringing to the table. So now if you look at any of our speakers, the first question that people want to do when they're interacting with them, the first thing people do is Google them. Right? And when there's content, it's not just about what they've written, it's about what they have spoken and done. I have had speakers, and the important thing, right, is that we talk about the fact that we're in a global economy.
Yes.
So once again, we've got to start thinking about how do people relate in this global economy? It's digitally. So if I'm sitting here and I have one speaker, and she's now the host yesterday, she's based in KZN. In KZN, she's working on a project to uplift rural children. Now, people in America and people in anywhere in the world may not necessarily have known about her. She came on and gave a TED Talk. She's having the likes of Bank of America support her. The Eisenhower Foundation, when they interview her, they understand the fact that she's been on TEDx. The first thing that the international community does when it's looking for African women, it Googles them. Now, this is allowing those women to be accessible. Highly important.
Do you not find that perhaps also creates a further discrimination because of the prestige that TEDx often comes with? And they say, well, if you haven't been at TEDx, then we can't really look at you, we can't still fund you. It goes back to the social media issue that you were raising earlier, whether they have a social media following or not.
Yeah. Not necessarily, because I think what this platform does, I think TEDx platform, the important things is ideas worth sharing for free. So this is allowing people who do not normally have a space to share those ideas to go onto a platform that is credible. So in as much as this platform, YouTube is a free platform. Anybody can go on it. Anybody can monetize after 50,000 views. Up to 55,000 views, you start earning money on YouTube. That's not a big deal. But the issue is now we're starting to ask ourselves, we're being critical about where we're finding our sources of information and content. So TEDx provides a platform because it's globally known. It is accessible anywhere in the world on your cell phone, and why not then use that platform?
All right. Rehema Issa, who is the organizer of TEDx Littleton Women, thank you very much for being a part of our network.
Thank you for having me.
All right, sure. Now, this week we caught up with a multi-award-winning actress, Pamela Nomvete. She told us what her favorite piece of technology is.
Are you looking for Archie?
Oh, yes. Yes. Is he here?
Unfortunately not. Can I help you, perhaps?
No, I'm afraid it's rather personal. Tell Archie he's got 24 hours.
My name is Pamela Nomvete, and I'm an actress. And my favorite gadget at the moment is the smartphone. I have a Samsung. And you know why? Because I realize I can do everything on it. It's a bit scary because I do everything. I've got my diary in there, you know, I've got the banking. I don't even have to walk into a bank anymore. I don't have to worry about going to the cinema because I can watch my favorite Netflix on my smartphone as I'm moving around.
Well, I'm sorry I couldn't stay for tea, get to know you better, but I'm sure we'll have more than enough time for that later.
I think winter is definitely one of those seasons where you can really show off your sartorial choices. You can start from a single layer of a shirt, actually starting with thermals, build it up with the shirts. You can have beautiful knits over the shirts, like we've done with Jade.
This film tells the story of a very, very significant political figure in the struggle for freedom in South Africa, who happened to be a woman. She was Nelson Mandela's wife.
The exhibition is an exploration into black femininity. Tabitha is a woman of color, and she is exploring the historical exploitation of the black female body.
Newtown Junction Mall hosted an epic contest in the cold where 3 top South African graffiti artists battled it out for the opportunity to become the Newtown Graffiti Face-Off Master.
For your weekly dose of entertainment news, tune into Trends every Saturday from 12 to 1.
It is the SABC network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now, Saudi Arabia gave citizenship to a robot, and Facebook has to account in front of the U.S. Senate. These are some of the stories that made tech headlines in the rest of the world.
Saudi Arabia has become the first country to give a robot citizenship. The move is an attempt to promote Saudi Arabia as a place to develop artificial intelligence and presumably allow it to become a full citizen. But many pointed out that those same rights aren't afforded to the many humans in the country. The robot named Sophia was made to look like Audrey Hepburn, was confirmed as a Saudi citizen during a business event in Riyadh. The robot then thanked the country and the event for the attention.
I would thank very much the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I am very honored and proud for this unique distinction. This is historical to be the first robot in the world to be recognized with a citizenship.
There then followed an interview during which Mr. Sorkin asked the robot a series of questions.
What about the uncanny valley?
You mean the concept that if robots become too realistic, they become creepy?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, am I really that creepy? Well, even if I am, get over it.
A number of internet users have pointed out that while the country might be celebrating the rights it has given to female-appearing robots, the country still only gives limited human rights to the women. Now going over to Russia. Russian officials made use of a suited robot for the 2018 regional budget. The Leningrad region's governor, Alexander Drostenko, presented his electronic assistant to head the local parliament, Sergei Bebenin, during a meeting between the two officials. In a video the governor posted on his official YouTube account on October 20th, Drostenko said that this was the next step after successful experience of resending budget papers online.
Gentlemen, if I could ask you to please stand.
And on to more pressing U.S. matters. The U.S. senators on Wednesday pressed Facebook Inc.'s chief lawyer on why the company did not catch 2016 election ads bought using Russian rubles, why its investigation of them took so long, and how much it knows about its 5 million advertisers. In the second day of hearings, Democrats and Republicans at the Senate Intelligence Committee fired questions at Facebook General Counsel Colin Stretch, who said that in retrospect, the company should have done more. The tone of day 2 of the hearings represented a dramatic shift in fortunes for Silicon Valley, which for years has grown accustomed to favorable regulatory treatment in the United States.
It pains us as a company, it pains me personally to see that that our platform was abused in this way. People in this country care deeply about issues of public concern, and it's one of the strengths of our country that people are so willing to speak freely about them. The fact that foreign actors were able to use our platform to exploit that openness is a deeply painful lesson for us, and one we're focused on learning from going forward.
Facebook, in a series of disclosures over 2 months, has said that the people in Russia bought at least 3,000 U.S. political ads and published another 80,000 Facebook posts that was seen by at least 126 million Americans over 2 years.
All right, the world is going to be a very interesting place in 10 years' time. Robots, self-driving cars. Now, as Google celebrates its 10th birthday in Africa this year, our Twitter poll asks which Google products do you use the most? Now, 7% of respondents say Maps. 35% of respondents say YouTube. That figure is in second place. 53% of respondents say they use a Google search tool. And that is the most number of respondents. In last place is 5% who say other Google tools. And that's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We leave you with visuals of an auto show in Tokyo, in Japan. From me and the rest of the network team, have a good one. Bye-bye.